training. So she's just going to be hanging out back there with her friend, and then Hope is going to be the one that you'll see participating in the more complicated behaviors, the more complex aspects of her training session, as she's got about 12 years of experience on Izzy.
I won't take a video.
Now these two are both non-releasable permanent residents as determined by the U.S. government, but it is for different reasons. Hope is here because she unfortunately lost her mother when she was about 2 months old. Hope was found stranded along with her mother, who had already passed away. Hope at the time was so young that she wasn't even eating solid fish by herself. She was still getting milk from her mother. Dolphins stay with their moms from anywhere to 3 to 7 years, where they learn all of their necessary survival skills. So at only 2 months old, there was no way that Hope would have had nearly enough time with her mom to learn everything that she would have needed to know to survive without her out in the wild. So because of this lack of survival skills, Hope was deemed non-releasable by the U.S. government and came here to stay with us at Clearwater Marine Aquarium. Izzy's story is quite a bit different, and she serves as a very important reminder to each and every one of us as to why we should not interact with wild animals, as Izzy is here because of illegal human interaction. She is in fact the first dolphin to ever be deemed non-releasable, specifically because of illegal human interaction impacting her natural skills. Izzy was found off the coast of Texas to be interacting with humans. People kept trying to come up to her, play with her, get rides from her, feed her, pet her, and this caused her to lose a lot of her natural survival skills and develop a dependence on humans. They noticed a decline in her health after she stopped socializing with other dolphins and stopped trying to feed by herself. Now this is Izzy hanging out with us down here. So this lack of survival skills that came from humans interacting with her too frequently caused her to have to be deemed non-releasable after the U.S. government noticed a significant health decline, as she was choosing to use humans as a way for food and socialization, which is not something we want in our wild animals, as it did have a very serious impact on her health. So Izzy really reminds each and every one of us to not interact with wild animals and stay at least 50 yards away from them for their safety as well as yours. Now we hope Izzy is going to be the first and the last dolphin to ever be deemed non-releasable because of illegal human interaction. So please remember to admire them from afar out in the wild and come to facilities like Clearwater Marine Aquarium if you want them up close to you.
But it's all.
Now while these two are here, they do participate in about 6 different training sessions each and every day, where we utilize positive reinforcements to draw attention to behaviors that we would like to see repeated, and then we just simply ignore anything that is incorrect or undesirable. We utilize this positive reinforcement training for a few different reasons. We're going to focus on 2 specific aspects of it for Hope's and Izzy's session today. Hope is going to be getting a good mental workout with some cognitive stimulation, as well as a physical workout with some exercise. Now Izzy is going to be getting a lot of mental stimulation, as she is a newer animal and is going to be learning constantly. She's learning the basics and the fundamentals of her training, so she's going to be using her brain quite a lot in her session. But with 6 different sessions, we have the opportunity to switch things around, ask them different questions, different behaviors. So each session that you guys might see is going to be different. So for this one, for Hope's cognitive training, she's going to be working on a behavior called sink. So you're going to see her come all the way down to the bottom of the pool, and she's going to be asked some questions from her trainer, Rhea, up top. Now this is a great way for us to give her that good cognitive stimulation, because when she does come down, Rhea is not just 20 feet above her through the water, but also above that surface. This is no problem for Hope to see, as her eyesight is 8 times better than ours, but it does provide a little bit of that mental challenge, as she is taking behaviors and seeing Rhea in a bit of a different context. Instead of being up top and being asked questions from the surface, she's being asked questions all the way down at the bottom of this environment. Now that is one of the reasons why that sink behavior does give her that mental stimulation, but she's also going to be asked a variety of different behaviors. Now individually, she knows all of these different behaviors, but she doesn't know exactly what order they're going to be asked in and how many times she's going to be asked each individual behavior. So in order for her to get the sink behavior correct, she has to make sure she's using her eyes and her brain to pay attention to not only what is being asked, but also the order that these behaviors are being asked in and the frequency of those behaviors. So it's a great way for us to give Hope a good mental workout. Now you can see Izzy hanging out in the back there working on one of those fundamentals. It's called a target. A target is one of the first things that these guys learn and is a great way for us to shape and teach them new behaviors. It's likely going to start off with just a hand target, having them come and touch their rostrum to the bottom of our hands. But then we can also use that target pole that you saw in the water, as our hands only have so much reach. So if we need to go deeper into the water or further out into the middle of the pool, or also higher up into the air for those aerials, we can utilize that target pole, and it's that same concept. They have to touch the end of their rostrum to the buoy part of that target pole. So Izzy is working on, you saw those targets going deeper into the water, having her go down and meeting the target. So it's a great way for us to teach her that target and also get her ready for some new behaviors that is going to come soon in her learning once she gets a handle on those targets. Targets can be used to train all sorts of things. We can use it for those high energy aerials, have the target out if we want to do for say a bow where they go up and out in that crescent motion. We move the target in that crescent motion and they follow it. It can also be used to have them even learn to come down to the window. So Hope sometimes for her sessions comes down to the window, takes behaviors from whoever is down here, and in order to tell her when she first started that we want her to come down here, we can't just ask, we can't just say, Hope, go down to the window. We can use that target to show her that we want her to go down to the window. And through a positive reinforcement, giving her that yummy restaurant quality fish, we strengthen that behavior and eventually can phase out the target pole and then phase in a hand signal. So at the end of the behavior, all she has to do is follow the hand signal, not the target, and then she can complete that behavior correctly. When she does get a behavior correct, she's first going to receive a bridge. A bridge is just a cue that bridges the gap between what is asked and the reinforcement that follows. It essentially just tells these guys good job and that they can return for reinforcement. And it's most often going to be in the form of the whistle that we have around our necks. But for those of you up top, you might also notice us using a point bridge or even a double tap as a tactile bridge. These are all different ways that we can tell our animals good job and that they can get that yummy reinforcement. Now it looks like Hope is going to be moving back and forth in her environment. She is going to be moving sometimes from trainer to trainer. We do have a few different animal care specialists up top. Now further training sessions, we do switch up what is being asked. So we sometimes do ask that cognitive sync behavior, but we also have different ways that we can engage their minds. You might notice us utilizing mimicries where they're copying us, and this is a great way for us to include some natural behavior. We can even ask them mimicries while they're in that sync. Out in the wild, these guys would be mimicking their conspecifics, other animals they live with, or their mothers while they're learning. So we can kind of mimic that in a way by having them copy us. So they're still using some of that natural mimicry behavior that they would be doing out in the wild. Now on top of that cognitive stimulation, giving them a mental workout, we also do give them a good physical workout. And it looks like Hope is having some fun going around her environment, and she is going to be coming down and starting to work on that cognitive stimulation. Everything we do with these guys is voluntary, so Hope doesn't have to participate if she doesn't want to. That's perfectly okay. Looks like she wants to come down and just check out the window. You can see her hanging out here. We want to make sure that these guys have a variable session, so she's going to be asked different things, and you guys can take a look now that she's in that sink and see what they're asking. All right, you guys give her a big round of applause. So she was asked to go back up when she got those behaviors correct, and now she's going to get a lot of yummy reinforcement, some of that restaurant quality fish. We do give these guys a variety of species such as capelin or silver size, different things to help make up their diets. They do get about 16 pounds of fish each and every day. That is for our girls. Different animals get different amounts of food. It is based on their size, weight, how big we expect them to be. Males different amounts of food because they are going to be differently sized. Nicholas, our male bottlenose dolphin, he does get about 18 pounds of fish each and every day. So for these guys, while they do participate in that cognitive stimulation like you saw in that sink where she was being asked different questions down here at the bottom, they also give them a good physical workout with some exercise training. For Izzy, because she is one of our newer residents, she's still working on the basics, we can give her some easy ways to exercise. We can have her go really quickly from trainer to trainer, make sure she's moving. We can also give ourselves a good workout. We can run real quickly around her environment and have her follow us. So it's not just Izzy getting a good workout, we're also getting a good workout along with her. But we can also do more complicated energy behaviors. You can see Hope was smacking her tail on the surface of the water. This is something that you might even see their wild counterparts doing, as out in the wild, in order to make it easier for them to catch their prey, they might smack their tails on that surface, stun the fish, and then they can just gobble them right up. So we do encourage these guys to elicit some of that natural behavior, even though Hope is pretty pampered. She gets all that fish hand delivered to us. Then delivered to her, we'll still give her the opportunity to do those behaviors and make sure she's still getting that good workout. You guys can watch her as she continues her exercise. And you guys can give her a big round of applause. For those of you guys down here at the window, you get a bit of a different view for those high energy aerials. You can really see just how she is moving her body. Often we do see these behaviors from the surface, watch these guys exit and re-enter. But you guys down here can really see just what she is doing as she's gearing up for that exit and then how she is moving on that re-entry. You might notice she is really pumping that lower half of her body. This is where the peduncle muscle is. The peduncle is the muscle between that dorsal fin and tail flukes, and it's going to be their muscular powerhouse. It's how they're able to do those high energy aerials or even swim at speeds of over 20 miles an hour. The peduncle muscle and their tail flukes can really get them going, get them moving, and it's a very important thing for us to make sure they're working out to stay fit and healthy. Everything that we do here with our animals does involve us interacting very closely with them, but that is because they are non-releasable permanent residents. You would never see any of us interacting in this way with their wild counterparts. It is illegal under the Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 to interact in any way with wild marine mammals. This does include, of course, dolphins, but also whales, otters, or even polar bears if you happen to find yourself all the way up north. If you are caught interacting with them, you can face jail time or a pretty hefty fine. And if you were here from the beginning, you remember Izzy's story, interacting with these guys out in the wild can have severe implications on their health. So please refrain from any close interactions, stay at least 50 yards away from them, and come to facilities like Clearwater Marine Aquarium where you can view them safely. We are a nonprofit here, so just by walking through our doors, each and every one of you is directly supporting our mission of rescue, rehab, and release, while also helping us provide a great second chance at life for our non-releasable permanent residents.